Hi, it's Kim, and I'm back for another week of 10-minute tips for your relationships. 10 minutes. So this week, I don't have my partner with me, partner for life, but I want to continue that conversation on communication. And today, I just want to talk about sometimes when we have trouble with talking. Yeah, we do. Sometimes we just have trouble with talking. You know, communication is huge, it's big, especially now. We're all in and we don't know when we're coming out. So it's just important that we work as hard as we can to improve our communication skills in our relationships. So I want to read this quote, very short quote, and it says, "Love without communication is impossible." And that's Mortimer Adler. And I completely agree. If you don't communicate with the person that you say you love, how can that be true that you love that person? Communication is so key in everything. So, love without communication is impossible. It's impossible. So there are many things that, or many problems that we have with communication. They can range from big things to small things. You know, it could be the tone of your voice, how you address the person. It could be the fact that you don't listen. You have poor listening skills. It could be a fact that you don't agree, you know, and sometimes we don't agree because we just don't want to agree. That can be a huge problem. Then we have folks who just have like negative attitudes, you know, so that makes it hard to communicate with a person who has a very negative attitude. And we have a difference of opinions. And then one of the things too could be lack of boundaries. Yeah, it's very important to have good boundaries, especially when we're talking to one another. So one thing that we can do is we can always work on or do things that will improve our communication skills. And you know, when you're working on your communication skills, when you're working on that type of thing, it takes a lot of work. It takes practice, a lot of effort and time. You're going to put in a lot of time because you're going to have to practice doing it, right? So today I want to share these 7 strategies that I got out of this book that I've been reading, Communication in Marriage, and I'm going to share that book with you. But the first thing I want to do is I want to share these 7 strategies that the author talks about. Really good strategies, things that they're very easy to put into practice. They're not, you know, things that are impossible. They're not too out of reach. Things that we probably do already. We just don't do them very well. Okay? So the very first thing, which I think is probably the most important thing, is asking that question, can I have your full attention? You know? And if you're not asking that question, then you're giving your full attention, right? It is impossible to communicate well. It's impossible to have a very important conversation and discuss very important things. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be important things. Sometimes you can just be in each other's presence and you want that person's full attention. It's nothing worse than a person trying to have a conversation with someone else and that other person is completely distracted, right? Distractions can really become a problem with or in communication. Not just distractions, but also interruptions, right? So if the two of you are trying to have a very important conversation, now I'm talking about like some real stuff, right? Then it's really important that the kids aren't around or other family members, that your cell phones aren't out, that you're not working on something important, that your favorite show is not on television. It's important that we don't have distractions or interruptions, or that we are completely tuned in to what our mate has to say to us. Then number 2, no yelling. No yelling. I just feel like we're adults, right? First of all, we're both adults. And I don't even like to yell at kids, first of all, but the fact that we're both adults, then we should be able to communicate with each other without yelling, without using profanities. I mean, to me, that's really disrespectful to yell. And how effective can you really communicate with your mate if you're yelling? Because guess what? If you're yelling at me, I'm tuning you all the way out, right? And if you're yelling at your mate, I'm pretty sure they're not hearing everything that you have to say as well. So no yelling. Number 3. Number 3 is really important. And it takes a lot of empathy to do this. And we should be using empathy in our relationships. But number 3 is walk a mile in your spouse's shoes. Right. Walk a mile in that person's shoes. That means try to feel what they feel. Right. Try to understand from their point of view. It's really, really important that we show and have empathy in our relationships, because communication also takes understanding. And sometimes when we have lack of empathy, we have a lack of understanding, a lack of communication, or being able to communicate, or not communicate, but being able to connect on a different level with your mate. So it's very, very important that we have empathy, meaning, just try it. Try to see things from that person's point of view. It's important that we try to walk a mile. They say you walk a mile in another man's moccasins, you can understand them. Well, let's try it with our mates. Let's try to walk a mile in their shoes and just see it from their vantage point. We may get a different perspective on ourselves and how we show up in the relationship. Number 4 is confirm your understanding. Now, I like this one because I love clarity. I always like to know that I'm clear, that I completely get what you're saying, that I understand where you're coming from. I don't want to make any assumptions about what that person is trying to say to me. So that includes like letting them reiterate what they're saying, asking questions. I mean, don't just tell a person everything is fine. Oh yeah, I get it, I understand, and you really don't. Because later on, either you're going to make a mistake based on your misunderstanding, or if you didn't get a full understanding, you might have a little upset because that person's not reacting or responding the way that you think they should. Okay, so let's confirm. Let's confirm our understanding. Let's let that person reiterate. Let's listen again. Let's ask a question. Doesn't hurt to ask a question. And you know what? It's okay if our mate asks us questions when they don't understand. It really is okay. So, confirm understanding. Number 5 is change your style. Right. You may have to say it a different way. Maybe the way you're explaining it is not clear. Or maybe the words you're using or the phrases that you're using, your mate doesn't quite get it. So sometimes we have to change our style. We have to say it a different way. And that's okay. It's okay if we have to say it a different way. And also, it's okay if you ask your mate, hey, can you explain that in a different way? Because for whatever reasons, not you, I'm just not getting it. So it's okay to do that. Number 6 is take a break. Now this one is extremely important. Sometimes we're just not seeing eye to eye. Sometimes we're just not engaging on a level where there's understanding being made. So sometimes we just have to do what? Take a break. Walk away, say, hey, you know what? I think I need a break. I just want to take a minute to gather my thoughts. I want to take a minute because I'm feeling a little frustrated, and I don't want to say or do something that will cause more problems than what we're having already. Or it would cause me to insult you, and I don't want to do that. It's unnecessary. You know what? Taking a break also, it takes you out of that position of fight or flight. Because sometimes we get stuck there when we don't understand. We're not able to come to any conclusions or understandings. So yes, go ahead and take a break. And then number seven is what the author says: rinse and redo. Right. So basically, in a nutshell, he's saying, do the same process over again, which causes you to practice. So yes, talking, communicating is very, very important in a relationship. Very important in a relationship. And it's important that we practice and that we do it often and that we do it well. So let me read these to you again. Our 7 strategies to having good communication. First, give your full attention. Number 2, no yelling. Number 3, empathize. Try to walk a mile in that person's shoes. Number 4, clarify. Get an understanding. You ask a question. Get some clarity. Number 5 is you may have to change your style, change the way you're saying it, use some different words, different phrases. And number 6, take a break. Take a break. And then number 7 is what? Do it all over again. These are my 10-minute tips. I hope you're working on your communication while we're staying safe. Take care, stay at home, and stay safe.